Okay, guys, I think the last segment here, and I'm going to try to keep this under 5 minutes because, again, you can, even though I was just trashing on ESPN and all them, you can go to any podcast, any Suns, NBA podcast, all that stuff. There's so many people that have talked about this. I'm late to the party. I'm like a few days late to this. And I wanted to do a separate video, but I was like, nah, I'll just save it for the live. How to fix NBA All-Star Weekend. And how I'm going to go about this is let's just pretend, let's use our imaginations here, children, that let's just pretend that Adam Silver and his team are like, hey, Suns Geek, you are in charge of All-Star Weekend. How would you go about All-Star Weekend? And I'm going to kind of give you guys, I don't know, not really a cliche answer here. This is just what I would do personally. Now, again, there's probably some better analysis and thoughts and ideas of how to fix All-Star Weekend. And this is coming from somebody that really used to love All-Star Weekend, but this was the All-Star Weekend that kind of opened my eyes to, like, even though it's a celebration of the game, and that's what it's all about. That's really what All-Star Weekend is about. It's celebrating the best players in the league. Like, I know a lot of you guys are big football fans and everything, but I believe if you're subscribed to this channel, you really love basketball as much as I do. It's celebrating our favorite league and celebrating our favorite players and the history of the game. And look, there is an audience out there that is okay with how All-Star Weekend is. I was having a conversation about this with a coworker of mine just yesterday. My coworker loved it. He was like, man, that was fun. I was like, yeah, it was kind of cool. Like, there's an audience that loves the high scoring. There's an audience that loves, as some people on Twitter put it, a glorified layup line. You got to remember, there's a lot of the younger generation out there that is just discovering, this era of basketball. So they look at this All-Star game like, man, this is incredible. And there might, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but there might be some casual fans that think it's cool too. So I understand it from that perspective. And I understand it from, obviously the NBA is a business. I'm sure All-Star Weekend made a ton of money. And I don't have the numbers in front of me. Maybe I'll pull them up, but the NBA communications page tweeted out that, like, viewership, we're talking about Suns viewership, that the NBA All-Star Weekend viewership ratings, those numbers were sky high. That's great. I love that. I want basketball and the NBA specifically to have more fans than ever. And I respect the NBA, whether you love or hate Adam Silver. I respect the NBA for experimenting. That's one thing I think gets overlooked. The NBA is always experimenting, sometimes to a fault, but I wasn't a big believer in the play-in tournament. Now I love the play-in tournament. I think it's safe to say the in-season tournament worked. I like the in-season tournament now. At first I was like, yeah, the players aren't going to care about this. Yeah, they really cared about it. So I like how the NBA is experimenting. But if Adam Silver and the NBA were like, Suns Geek, you are in charge of All-Star Weekend, I would do this. I would go back to rookies versus sophomores because I'm a little old school in that. I love the rookies versus sophomores. It's pretty much like the All-Star game, but for the younger players, And maybe throw some G League guys in there. I don't remember if there was a G League All-Star game this year, but I would throw a couple G League guys in there, but just make it rookies versus sophomores and just, throw a couple G League guys in there. I would also have a few more roster spots on the rookie versus sophomore teams. And I would I would like, I understand why they do it. Like, let's say team Dwayne Wade versus team whatever, I would keep it rookies versus sophomores, right? East versus West or whatever, right? Rookies, sophomores. That's fine, whatever. That's the warm up to All Star Weekend. The real controversy, if you will, is kind of All Star Saturday night and this previous All Star game. There's a part of me that likes the skills challenge, kind of, but I don't like the format. I would go back to the original skills challenge format, or for you old heads out there, you guys remember, what was it called? The Shooting Stars contest? You guys remember that? Where like they had like one current player, I think like a WNBA player, and then like a legend, and they all had to like do the obstacle course, shoot the half court shot. That was awesome. Bring that back. That was fun. It was intense. Bring that back. Or just scrap it entirely. I feel like this segment's going to go longer than 5 minutes, by the way. I wanted to keep it under 5 minutes, but that's probably not going to happen. And then, I think the 3-point contest is fine. It's like, I liked the Steph versus Sabrina thing. I think that works, especially since they kept it short. I think the 3-point contest is fine. And then the dunk contest, I know lots of people have talked about this for years. Even before this year's All-Star weekend kind of disaster, I was like, yeah, the dunk contest is cooked. It's either, in my opinion, either bring in like professional dunkers, like the guys you see on YouTube, bring those guys in, or I don't know, somehow convince the stars of this league to do a dunk contest, which they're not going to do. Because if that was the case, we would have already seen LeBron, et cetera, et cetera. Or just scrap the dunk contest entirely. I know Adam Silver and them are probably never going to do that, but if I was in charge of it, I would scrap the dunk contest. That's just me. I don't know. I would do that. Because think about it, you guys. The NBA is what, 77 years old now, whatever. Like, we just had our 75th anniversary a couple seasons ago. It's old. The dunk contest has been around since like the 70s, 80s. Every dunk has been done, and you can go on YouTube right now and watch better dunks. So I would just scrap the dunk contest, y'all. John says, have someone try to block the dunks. Yeah, like, do something. Like, you had to have a G leaguer, and I love Mac McClung. He probably should be on an NBA roster, like, for real. Like, go look at him. He can actually play. You had to bring in a G leaguer to save the dunk contest. And even as great as he was last year and as great as he was this year, which, was he really that great this year? Like, come on, y'all. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Let me take a sip of my water, then we'll talk about the actual All-Star game. So the All-Star game, I think it was like Inside Hoops or something on Twitter, and I'm paraphrasing here, where they said something along the lines of like, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the tweet was pretty much, players in the All-Star game shouldn't treat it like it's the NBA Finals, but they shouldn't treat it like it's a glorified layup line. I'm paraphrasing that tweet, but that was pretty much it. I don't know what the NBA has to do to make these players just somewhat compete. I think one thing they need to do is go back to that target score, because that way the first 3 quarters can be like a fun, alley-oops, glorified layup line, half court shots. That can be the fun part. And then when it's the target score, that's when the players take it seriously. Because go back and look at the past couple All-Star games. When they had that target score, it was intense. It was fun. That's what I would do. I would keep the All-Star game as it is. I would probably add in a couple extra roster spots. I know I'm probably alone on that, but like, there's always snubs every year. And I think there should be guys that should get in, so there should be a couple extra spots. And again, I would just add that target score in there and then just probably leave it at that. Like, and you know what? I don't mean to sound too negative because I love All-Star Weekend and everything, even though my mind is kind of changing. I don't mean to sound too negative. But if the NBA doesn't make any changes to the 2025 All-Star Weekend, I might only watch the Rising Stars game and I might just skip the rest. Unless Booker and Katie, like obviously I was watching it for Booker and Katie, but if for some reason they're not in it, God forbid, I probably will just skip that and just enjoy time to myself and watch movies and play video games. You know what I mean? So that's sort of just my all-star rant. And again, I know there's better, bigger, analysis out there that have talked about it, but that's just what I would personally do. And I know I said this segment was going to be 5 minutes long, but it felt like it was 10. John says, Bull out there trying to stop Mac McClung. Sign me up. Yes, that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Let's do that. Let's definitely do that. David says, make it a combined style contest, highest vert, fastest end-to-end time, etc. That would be cool, David. I like that. Now, look, you guys know me. I am not a big football fan, but I saw this like trending on Twitter like a long time ago, like, and I may be getting this wrong. I might be butchering this, but I saw like Brett Favre like throwing a football as far as you possibly could. Like they should do stuff like that. And like David's comment says here, like that would be a fun all-star weekend. Like keep the 3-point contest. Let that be the main thing. But like get guys in there that, I don't know, like just make it fun stuff like that. You guys know what I mean? I don't know. Shout out to my guy, the QC, says, by the way, that hat is disrespectfully disgusting and you know it. Thanks, man. I love this hat. I especially love the logo on the side here. It's a great hat. I was kind of looking at my hat collection and I was like, man, I don't really have that many Coyotes hats. I don't really have that many Cardinals hats. So I went and bought another Coyotes hat because this hat's awesome. By the way, for anybody who cares, I haven't bought as many Suns hats as at like the rate that I've done in the past, but that might change soon. And I remember talking about this a while ago. I think my next hat collection update video will probably be sometime in 2025 because I've sort of slowed down buying Suns hats. And I'm sure there's been a lot of hats that have passed me by, but I can't buy them all. You know what I mean? It's just impossible, but just a little quick update on that. I'll probably doing a video on that in 2025. David says the team with the best record going into the All-Star game should play the starting 5 from the other conference. Ooh, that'd be cool. I mean, there's the whole, like, I'm sure people will fire back at that and say, oh, what if they get injured? Like, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Let's see. The idea of somehow trying to incorporate the in-season tournament with All-Star Weekend would be cool, says Marco. That's a good idea, too. Charles says Yotes. Yep, shout out to the Yotes, man.
What's up, Suns Geek?